Hello, what is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back. It's your boy Blue, and this is episode 22 of the Blu-XPeriences. If you're watching live, you can see we are rocking with the homie EP.22 and JonFly, who seem to both be frozen in time. But welcome to the stream, guys.
I'm just looking at you. I'm just like gazing at you.
It's the fascination. It's the panel. Hey, gentlemen, how you guys doing today? How's everybody doing today?
I'm good. I'm just getting some things fixed in the background, but I'm doing good, man. It's been a good week. I've been feeling pretty productive, I should say. Just always excited for Thursday, man. Just had a great show actually last week with Q8 Pilot, and now back with what I believe is another flight sim legend and OG, JonFly. Been watching him for a long time, and I do want to say before we start, I just want to compliment JonFly real quick, is that I feel like we don't get to talk as much as I wish, but I feel that he is a friend of mine. And I feel like whenever you are around this guy, whether it's in person or in his Twitch chat, he really makes you feel like family. That's one thing I definitely felt the vibe in his streaming community, is that everybody's out to help each other and love on each other and appreciate each other. And that's that kind of vibe I get from JonFly. So he really reflects that. So shout out to you, my friend, for everything you stand for, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I feel the same way. We met 3 years ago? Was it 3 or so years ago in person?
Like
and I think we just kind of have hit it off since and caught each other virtually, and it's good to be here tonight.
True. I think I was gonna do an intro off JonFly, and I think Blue just blew it out of the water, so I can't even add anything to that. But no, absolutely, guys, we're so excited to have John on, and let me just say this. Bunch of youngsters are going to go, JonFly. But for all the people who've been flight simming for quite a few years, you know who JonFly is. You've all for resources on how to do things in all the simulators that he flies, and also copy some of the stuff he's done, and also learn from him too, because the man also is a patient teacher. If you watch one of JonFly's streams, you realize that he's going to take his time and go through everything in detail, what you need to know. And that's what I appreciate about you, John. So welcome to the stream, man. Welcome to the show. Absolutely glad to have you on board, man. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I was listening to an earlier podcast of the Blu-XPerience today, actually, just kind of getting a feel for it. And one of the comments I think you had with the amazing Captain Canada was, you get to know the plane before you stream it, get to know the plane. And I just go live sometimes and I have the chat teach me.
That's one thing I noticed, bro, about you, is that, it's not just a brand new plane that comes to the market, but it's a new plane that's new to you, and you hop on the stream and you don't, you learn with the community, you learn with the chat, because you have real pilots in the chat. I've seen you do streams with real pilots teaching you how to fly a plane that you know nothing about, and I think it's pretty cool perspective to have for the audience too.
Yeah, and then occasionally, we fly something that we've flown over and over again, and I know it like the back of my hand, and I still learn things from chat, from this, that, or the other. So. But yeah, no, it's such an awesome opportunity that we have to learn from our chats.
So, hint to everybody out there: there's more than one way to do a flight simming and streaming. Be good at, pick what you like to do and be the best at it. And JonFly's style is completely different from a lot of us. Where a lot of us kind of take a certain route, he takes a different route, and it's entertaining, it's educational, and it's relaxing and chill. So, and it's funny enough, I think, let me just say this real quick. You guys think that the hand of God, which is my wife, John, brings me stuff on stream? JonFly was the first guy that I seen his wife brought him dinner to eat, and he ate on stream. And this was years ago. Yep. This is not new, just to let you guys know. So I'm like, how does John do that? At the time, I'm saying to myself, how do you do that, man? This is so cool. Yeah.
I get a lot of flack for that, and I get a lot of praise for that. It's like a love or hate situation. For one, eating on stream is a whole nother subject. But I think a lot of people are just like envious. I trust me, I don't expect it from her, but she's just like, the man's got to eat, and he's been flying too long.
Back then, I couldn't relate. I was like, how? And I'm so lucky now I get the same treatment. I go, okay, now I understand. Now I understand how. So yeah, you think us guys are original in things we do. No, it's been done before, trust me.
She has an emote on the channel now as a result of her, of the process.
Wow.
True, man. So I happen to peruse your YouTube channel because you're on Twitch and also YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, your YouTube channel goes back 6 years ago. Pilot Edge test number 2, Airfoil Labs 172.
Oh,
yes. Wow. How long have you been in the flight sim industry, man? How long have you been around flight simming?
You're not going to believe this, but I started in 1986.
Whoa.
Whoa.
And this, in fact, I'll post. Yeah, I got it right here. In your chat room, I'll just post a link to it, and you can grab it. But basically, I started in 1986 because my dad brought home Microsoft Flight Simulator on the Macintosh. It was the first Macintosh ever, and This was 1986. It was version 1.0. And I just posted a picture of the screenshot of the sim. It was dot matrix, for lack of a better word. But believe it or not, that simulator had functional VORs. You could lower the flaps. You had, people talk about scenery today and the different sims. This had just lines, dots, But that was my start, and I'll always be grateful that my dad showed me a flight simulator when I was 14 years old. I'm as you know, I'm a little bit older in the community, and I was 14 and I started with version 1, and I stayed with Microsoft all the way up until I started with X-Plane in 2015, right around the time of that video that you discovered right there I think I was on Pilot Edge too. I was learning. I was doing the Airfoil Labs. Yeah. So yeah, that was the time that I was discovering Twitch, and I was discovering live streamers like I don't know if you remember Josh Gibbs.
Oh yeah.
And he inspired me, and that's kind of what started my streaming career here. Coming up on 7 years ago, and. But yeah, I've done something like almost 1,400 videos on YouTube. It's crazy, but I don't do anything like what I see on a Blue Games or your channel. I don't. All of mine are just live stream captures, unedited. I go to the bathroom. I don't. You don't take out that bit where you're away from the sim and on autopilot or whatever.
Wait, do you not do be right back screens? You just go to the bathroom?
I say, hey, I'll be right back. I don't even have to be right back. Very unpolished, so don't take that as an example of how to stream or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that the main reason that I do the YouTube channel, and that's why it has almost 1,400 videos, is purely to bring people over to Twitch, believe it or not. And also to show them how to fly a plane the way I do, or how I learned from chat how to do it. That's a byproduct of it. But really, I wanted to get over to Twitch. But lately, believe it or not, I've been thinking about YouTube, live streaming there.
Hey, there's lots of room in YouTube, man. Come on over. But I just still stuck. You said that there was a Microsoft Flight Sim on a Mac. that is nuts. Wow.
Yeah.
That is nuts. Yeah. But we go way back. Yeah.
There's even an emulator for it. You can actually fly the emulator on a website, and it emulates that whole Mac environment. It's crazy.
Really? I've actually been thinking lately that I want to reach back and try some of the old first Microsoft flight sims, but I'm like, first of all, my PC doesn't even have a CD drive, so I don't know how I would do that.
Yeah, you need that little hack that we had with 98 and 2000. It was like nocdhack.exe or whatever, where
like that,
it
right.
tricked the computer into thinking that it had a CD-ROM in the drive.
Wow.
Is do retro flight simming. Hey, that might be a thing, man. Think about it. Revive some of those older games and just to show people. But as you said, it did have functional VOR, so I guess you could fly VOR to VOR and that stuff.
I've been looking on Amazon or on eBay looking for the manual that came with it. I want to buy it. It's very old now, and I want to buy it. This is kind of funny, but believe it or not, the Microsoft manual had a centerfold, and the centerfold was a chart of the VORs. And I remember as a 14-year-old kid learning VORs and taking my pencil and drawing a line that, hey, this VOR says I'm off of this line, and this VOR says I'm off of this line. So they're telling me that if I cross those 2 points, that's where I am. So it's a whole new meaning to the word centerfold.
But it's funny talking about VFR. I'm actually happy and sad that we don't use VFR anymore. Happy in the sense that, you got your GPS, your whatever ADR you can align those, and you type in your flight path and hit autopilot at 10,000 feet and you're good. But I remember when I just started simming in X-Plane 9 and 10, some of the places in California, you had to do VORs, and reading the radials, as you said, learning an inbound radial and an outbound radial and how the VFR needle shifts across the screen or whatever when you're going over the VOR, stuff like that, man. It's so fascinating to learn. Blue, have you ever done any VOR flying like that?
Oh yeah, I love VOR flying.
There you go, man.
Whenever I'm flying, one of the challenges for me when flying VFR is to practice using VORs, because I know that eventually it's going to come up in flight training and stuff like that. So practicing flying from a radio from one VOR to another, or just a radio to one VOR, stuff like that. Stuff that I try to continue to be like fresh on.
Yeah. And there's even commercial pilots today. Like my friend who flies for an American carrier, he will tune in a VOR on a departure that and he'll hand fly the departure, and he'll use, okay, we got to make a left turn at this radial. Whereas a lot of guys are like, VNAV, LNAV, go. Plane, do what I want you to do. And he's like, no, I'm going to hand fly it, and I'm going to turn that on that old school radio. And I'm like, good on you for, having that skill in your back pocket in case there was a failure with other systems. There's so much redundancy that it's probably not likely that those other systems are going to go down, but you never know. But it's also there's a romance to it. Although the same people that were using NDBs back in after World War II, they think that was romantic, and I'll never use NDBs. So it's a generational thing, I think. We love our GPS, we love all that, but there's and when I'm driving around the States, I'll often notice out in the field a VOR, and I'll want to try to get as close to it as possible to take a picture, because they are going away little by little.
Yeah, it's. I have no idea what NDBs are, by the way. I have to
non-directional beacon. It's basically a VOR that doesn't tell you. It's just a non-directional beacon. It was the old way of doing it before they decided to aim signals at certain degrees. So
it's a pre-VOR when you just had the beacons. How do you navigate by that? I'd probably be on my brain.
Yeah.
No, but as we move up, man, we went from that. I remember when I used to work for Oral Airline, I didn't realize that what I was looking at in the cockpit was a SIVA. I had no idea that was, and then that came out in Simmon with your buddy Jack in the 732 first, the 7.2, and that stuff. I haven't put my hand to it yet. Have you used
I'm allergic to SIVA.
So am I.
Yeah. They even came out with a program called a SIVA Helper for those of us that are, a little bit lazier than the other. Sure. And that even with the SIVA Helper, I'm like, never. I slant Alpha or slant Lima when I'm doing the fly J's. Yeah.
Wow.
No SIVA.
So
people love it though.
So you stay away from the SIVA and the 7.2. Is the 7.3 have a SIVA?
Yeah, I think you can do a SIVA in the 7. Both of them, I think.
Yeah, the
really?
732's got a SIVA in there if you want it.
I've had my
It's an option.
eyes on the Philips 747. I don't know if there's a SIVA in it, but I just know that it's some other special type of GPS that's not what we're used to. So I'm in the same way as you, John. I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm just intimidated by it, to be honest. I know that I could if
It doesn't seem very efficient to me. It doesn't seem VOR navigation seems much more efficient, and of course back then they probably thought, oh, this SIVA is beyond VORs, but yeah, I'll stay away from that. We all have our little parts of this hobby that were like that never, and then sometimes we even do the never.
Yeah, but if you guys are gonna fly the Concorde, man, you gotta have a SIVA. Can't put an FMS in a Concorde.
Oh.
That's why I haven't done it. Yeah, man, I'm telling you. Even I'm just digging up some of your old stuff here. You are one of the first guys I also know that maybe not green screen, but you had an extra camera pointing at your equipment. 6 years ago, you were showing the FMC in the 767 from Flight Factor on a tablet.
Yes, and that there was a few moments back then where I did a little bit more editing of a few things, but yes, I used to have at one point I even had 3 cameras that I could cycle between, and of course I had the green screen and now I just don't do the green screen. It's probably, if I had a little bit more room I probably would, but I think if you go into a stream that has some different angles and some transitions, I think it does add to, there's this whole, the motion picture industry, how they do things in, sections. If you ever watch a TV show or movie, they never stay on the same frame for more than, say, 7-8 seconds. Mm-hmm. They're always flipping around. And so if you can incorporate some of that into your streams, I think it does have a value add, but I don't do it very often now.
So speaking of that, let's talk a bit about streaming. So I want to ask you a few things. I mean, you've been doing this a long time. So what was Twitch like back when you first started, and what do you think it was for your channel that kind of helped you kind of break out and kind of grow?
Well, I mentioned Josh, and I think that's where I met him and his crew on Twitch, and then I started joining them on some group flights, and it had a completely different vibe back then. Obviously, there weren't as many people doing the hobby period, let alone streaming. But there, we used TeamSpeak instead of Discord.
Wow.
And a lot of things have advanced, but I think that I really do miss some of those days where we had 14 or 15 guys in a line on Pilot Edge, and we were talking on Discord, and maybe 1 or 2 people were streaming, and we were helping each other out, and this, that, and the other. And then, as it happens, some people come and go, whether they're streamers or not, they come and go. But what an amazing opportunity to build some relationships with some of these people that I still talk to regularly today. It was back then. I think it was difficult to become Twitch partner, but I think it's much more difficult now. I remember early on, I could name 2 partners on Twitch. We had Cat Strader and Val Dudes and I think probably Chewy and Matt Davies, Bellins back then. And there was not very many partners on Twitch, and so when I got it, I was extremely honored. But today getting partner on Twitch is hard. I'm just going to put it out there. It's hard because if you look at the Flight Simulator channel, how many people are live like right now? Back then, you had 7 guys, 8 guys, 15 guys live on a weekend. Wow. Now you have that 24/7.
Yeah.
But then you have, of course, the YouTubes and Facebooks and the different platforms. But I will always be thankful for that original group of people who taught me things like FS economy and taught me how to do the Ortho 4XP and how to fly these planes. Very grateful, and so I've tried emulate that and pass that on to others as well.
And I think the reason people keep coming back to your streams and your channels is because, again, you're adding value to them. You're teaching them. Obviously, somebody taught you how to do the ortho, how to fly a plane, how to do this, how to do that. But then you share that information with your viewers as well. So when they come in, they're like, hey, well, JonFly taught me how to use FS Economy, or how he did his ortho, which Zoom level he's doing, stuff like that, I think that's one of the many reasons why people continue to come back and see your streams.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel honored for watching as an audience member back then, because Josh Gibbs literally used to do 12-hour streams, 18-hour streams. I would put him on the TV, go to bed, Twitch is running, he's flying somewhere. He would land and go, okay, where is the white guys want to go? Pick another 2-hour flight. And I'll fall asleep and then wake up and the guy's still streaming. Wow. But then you guys also had raids, so you come on after him. They raided your channel and all the audience went to your channel. You could keep that whole thing going over, and so forth. Now it's like YouTube doesn't allow that. You can't switch your raid people's channel like the way Twitch does and so forth. Yeah. So if you're gonna come to YouTube, all that stuff is lacking. You know what I mean?
I think back in the day that was a huge thing, and that's I run a Twitch team, the Global Sim Alliance, and back in the day we used to have auto hosts. So when you finished, it auto-hosted someone on the team. And there was a core group of people, say a dozen of the 25 or so members that we had back then, that they would religiously auto-host team members. And it didn't matter your size or whatever. It was just people just threw viewers in your lap. Nowadays, there's less of that auto-hosting. In fact, Twitch is kind of... I don't know, diminish is not the right word, but teams don't take on they're not as prominent in a Twitch stream any longer. So, and I think I think with YouTube, YouTube host and rating, it's just a matter of time. That's got to be one of the most requested features for YouTube live streamers, is that ability to pass on the thing. And I think Captain Canada even said on your podcast that, the member gifting is another thing. So I think YouTube's coming along. I go there today, and to me, it's difficult for me to go to a landing page for Flight Sim on YouTube. I have to go and do a search by who's live, and so it's a little bit convoluted, but there's a lot of value in that. Your potential reach is huge, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm kind of upset that as a Twitch partner, I'm not able to I can't stream on both like I used to when I was not a partner back in 2015, 16. I got partnership, I think, in 17, so over 5 years ago. I'm not allowed to do that restream. I used to stream on both at the same time, and I think that was nice because it just gave double exposure. And as you're doing right now, you're streaming on multiple platforms. I think that's in the interest of but they'd forbid it because I'm a partner, so it's kind of frustrating. I don't know if YouTube, if I did do a switch to YouTube, I don't know if YouTube do they frown upon streaming on 4 other things if you're partnered over there?
No, there's no restriction on the YouTube side. But you mentioned that, and actually I'm glad you went there because I want to ask you about that. Like, obviously, again, Captain Canada mentioned the ability to gift a membership or a subscription or something like that, which I think is a huge deal in Twitch, because you have these people who support you and who've already become a member and already donated to your channel, but they see this other person who's always around, and just want to give them the ability to also contribute to your channel, because they may not be able to afford it. But what I like about that on the Twitch side is that it kind of adds to that family community kind of feel that Twitch gives you when you're a part of a Twitch membership, because on YouTube I have my audience for Blue Games, XP has his audience for Blue Games. We share a lot of the same people, but I can't automatically host his stream when I finish my live stream, and that's for me one of my main things that I wish, and I know eventually, like you said, it'll come, but one of the main things that I want on YouTube as a streamer is to be able to host other channels. So if I'm not live, this is my mindset personally, and kind of my vision for the future of my channel, is that if I'm not live, I want you to be watching somebody else. Like I want to give you I want to show you someone else that I think you could also enjoy, so that you can join them on the group flight, whatever that may be. Check out XP, check out Geo, whoever that person may be, right? And I guess I was very honored when I met you, John, because at the end of that expo, you actually did add me to that Global Sim Alliance thing, which I thought was freaking dope. I had heard of it before. I saw you a part of it. I saw a lot of other Twitch streamers that I looked up to who were a part of this group. So when you added me to that, I was like, man, this is amazing. Like, this is pretty sick. And I actually started seeing the benefits of that very quickly. As soon as you added me to that list, I will be live in my usual time, and randomly I get a raid. And my main audience is watching on YouTube, but I do have a smaller audience that's watching on Twitch. So when I see the Twitch numbers pump up real fast, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? But it's just really cool because I love to be able to do that to other people as well on Twitch or on YouTube.
I'll tell you why I wanted you to be a part of the team, and it's selfish. I watched your Carinado. Well, there's several videos that I've watched that it's like, man, this guy taught me how to do everything. And you know what? He's got a pretty damn good voice. And so I don't mind listening to him teach me the Saab 340 and the Fokker 50 and the Citation S550. I loved those videos. And so, and of course, I wanted you to be more, to come over to Twitch and do more Twitch. And it takes a while to, to build up on each platform. It's difficult to go both and have the same growth. But I wanted you there, and yeah, I mean, back in the day, those auto hosts and those raids and those, just everyone would go to they'd click on the GSA and they'd look and they'd see who's live, and it was just great exposure for people, because a lot of times you just can't be found. But I'm very proud to say that I think the GSA has accelerated a half a dozen people to partnership on Twitch.
Wow!
Just because it's helped out with the numbers.
That's amazing. I don't know if I was an affiliate yet, or if I don't know if I was capable of being one. I don't think I am now, because I'm multi-streaming. That's against the rules. But I know that you got me over the threshold to have the choice to go to affiliate if I wanted to. But yeah, I agree. Twitch is a different challenge than YouTube. And like you said, I think, and I've always believed that YouTube right now, and you can, kind of disagree, but I feel like YouTube, as far as a new person getting into streaming, and flight sim in particular, it may be a little easier because the potential for growth is a bit, it's there, versus Twitch, because on Twitch, again, you just have so many people live at once at any given time of day, and people are attracted to numbers. So if they see JonFly streaming, there's 500 people watching, they're not gonna go watch Saab 350 F16, whatever, something like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I don't know, I feel like it's,
I would agree with you. If someone came to me, I would, a couple of years ago, I'd say, no, come to Twitch, this is where it's at. But now I'm like, if you're starting now at YouTube, it's probably a great way to have a foundation. Ever since Microsoft Flight Simulator came out, all of us streamers who have been on Twitch for a long time. Now, I used to do like 3 or 4 streams a week. Now I do once a week, maybe. I'm not as often, because I was unemployed for a year and a half in between jobs, looking for the right fit. Now that I've been at the right fit for a couple of years, my streaming is kind of tapered off. I still love the fact that I can go live whenever I want to, and I usually will put in 2 or 3 streams a month. But not that you should focus on numbers, but because of Microsoft Flight Simulator, we're a third of what we were getting as far as viewership before Microsoft Flight Simulator, because there is so much, and it's a good thing. I mean, all 3 of us were like, we want to grow the hobby, right? Yeah. So the fact that we do have 100 people live right now, on Twitch on the Flight Simulator channel, I think is a good thing. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, but it's much more difficult to break out of and get that double-digit viewership or 30 or 40 or 50 viewers. It's much more difficult now, and YouTube probably. Again, I think there's a combination of that. What I binged watched your Captain Canada interview today. I thought it was amazing.
It was.
Kyle, anyway, I listened to it for an hour at work. I listened to it on the drive home. You guys did an amazing job with him. What an asset to the community, and he's proven that YouTube is a very viable live audience. And so I'm tempted. I'm YouTube curious.
It might ignite something in you to do more than once a week, once every 2 weeks. It's a fresh audience. The culture is different than Twitch as far as just the chat interaction, everything. I'm not saying it's better or worse. It's just different. It's like a different culture in YouTube. Of course, some good, some bad, and some in between. But it's here, and I think you'd have fun doing it. Harking back to the olden days. Well, olden days, geez, wow. When you and the crew used to do things together. So I think it's. I keep saying you should do it, man. Because you know what? Personally, when I get home, and if I'm not streaming or if I'm home doing something else, I flip on the TV. I don't watch TV or anything like that. I look at YouTube. And I go see who's streaming. And one of the biggest problem I had with Twitch is that YouTube's got an app on my TV. I have a Roku TV. Why isn't there a Twitch app on there?
There is on my Apple TV.
There you go, on the Apple TV.
Yeah, I have one on the Apple TV, so I'll put the Twitch up there, and of course YouTube's already there. But
that's it. Is there a Twitch on the Roku?
Roku does have a Twitch. You have to go find it though and add it to your favorites.
Oh, there you go. Well, that will solve that now. I'll never get up in front of the TV.
But it's like we have the two Sims to choose from, right? And then we have the two streaming platforms to choose from. I won't go to Facebook or other platforms at this juncture, but. Can we just briefly talk about Facebook, because it does exist. It is a streaming platform that people but do you have any thoughts on Facebook as a streaming platform? I think that I think it's got potential. I think especially with the whole metaverse direction of the company in general, I think that the fact that one day we may be able to be in the cockpit with you as you are on the metaverse, there's a lot of potential there. And also for me to walk in the back of the Zeebo, because Zeebo will still be a thing, and I'll be in 20 years, and and the people that are in my Twitch chat actually have seats reserved in the back of my Zeebo because we're in the metaverse, right? So there's potential, but it hasn't attracted me to even consider it, whereas YouTube has. So there's that. But I'm a very, very part-time streamer, and you guys are probably more aware of those other what they offer and what they don't offer. I do run probably a half a dozen Facebook groups that I could instantly advertise my live stream and have someone come if I went there, because I'm the founder of groups that are some are 50,000 people and it's flight simulator related. So
well, can I ask you what those groups are if people in the chat want to check them out?
Link us.
There's so many X-Plane Facebook group pages, but X-Plane users groups is one that I founded. I run Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 channel that I founded. That I have specific aircraft like Zeebo user groups and different things, and I mean. I tell you what, though, without people that are signed up to moderate, those things are the wild, wild west.
Oh yeah.
As far as what gets posted.
That's what you want to know.
I wanted to. I'm glad we went that direction, because I felt like when I know JonFly, for me personally, I know the streamer. I know you for your content, but I also know you for kind of what you just said. You kind of starting groups and being a leader of certain things like that. So like, I know you started SnakAir. Is that still a thing? I believe it is.
Oh yeah. Yep, for sure.
Can you tell people what SnakAir is?
Well, you have to start with what is FS economy first, and in a very brief statement, it's you have point A to point B, and you get paid to fly passengers and or cargo from point A to point B. But, you are actually paying another real person for the fuel. Or, hey, you're paying another real person on the planet to rent that aircraft. And, you landed at this airport, you're paying a real person. It's an economy that gives some purpose to some flights. So back in 2015, when I started diving into X-Plane and streaming and that with Gibbs and a guy named Marcus from Pilot Edge, who is a controller still today, he showed me FS economy, and said, "Here, I'll give you a Cessna 172 to start with."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Oh man, thank you." I didn't know at the time that it takes quite a bit of time
Yes, it does.
to earn up the cash to buy a plane.
Hmm.
Just a few weeks ago, I got hosted by some guy named Arch NDA. I don't know if you've heard of him on Twitch. He hosted me. We started chatting. He said his dream was to own a Falcon in FS economy. And I said, "Well, how much is a Falcon on FS economy?" He says it's like 8 or 9 million. And I said, "Okay, I just bought one for you. I'm selling it to you for $1." And the reason that I did that was because of Marcus 7 years ago giving me a Cessna and starting me on this journey. Now I own one of the biggest virtual airlines on FS economy. We own, places like Newark and Albuquerque and Louisville and Birmingham and to build and Colorado Springs and some Pilot Edge airports, this, that, and the other. Eugene, Oregon's a big one that people always want to buy from us. This huge entire network is brought about because stupid Marcus gave me a 172 back then.
And I want to give a side note to people who don't understand the scale of this. I have personally, me and my group, have spent hundreds of hours just to buy one plane, just to buy one FBO at an uncontrolled airport in the desert in Mojave. And you spend a lot of time to get these assets, and everywhere I go, I see SnakAir owns this airport.
SnakAir owns,
so I paid you a lot of money.
Well, we thank you.
Virtual
you get free
money.
donuts.
Yeah,
you
virtual
get free donuts
money.
at the FBO. Yeah.
Yes. So, but no, I want to go into that because I feel like a big part of your legacy for me, because I've gotten so deep in the FS economy and the FS economy community, which again is a flight sim economy, has been so big and vibrant, and even through X-Plane 10, 9, 12, or in the future in Microsoft Flight Simulator, still kicking. Like, I thought it died or was dying at one point, but then I'm like, people are still buying and selling aircraft to each other. They're still flying. They're still breathing. Like, it's crazy how it's gone. And SnakAir, I feel like it's been a big part of that. And I feel like not just, SnakAir, you and your pilots. And yeah, it's just been crazy.
It's been a great journey. In fact, if you go look at our SnakAir.com, it's not to promote anything, but SnakAir.com. And it's
this is your spotlight.
It's SNAK. So not the traditional way to spell snack. It's SNAK, SnakAir. In fact, I'll give your group an airport that we have. Just name what airport you want. I'll give you a couple.
Don't say that.
With instrument approaches, just because you're you.
Yeah.
And,
there you go.
Hey, is Nathan in the chat? He's my manager.
It's the generosity.
Shall receive.
Yeah, it's the generosity of the SnakAir pilots that have allowed us to grow this network large. And let's face it, the FS Economy website feels like 1998.
Yeah.
But the fact that it still is gaining numbers and still providing entertainment for us on occasion speaks a lot to. Imagine if it was actually. It's volunteers, so you have to give them credit for making this wonderful platform because they're just volunteers. So I can only imagine what a payware platform of FS Economy that had full-time development would look like. How fun would that be? You wouldn't be going out and making millions, but you would have fun if you were in the hobby for sure. If people have talked about it for a while, and there's this whole idea of, like, for example, XP, you prefer airliners, right? Well, FS Economy doesn't cater to airliners.
I know.
There's a niche, and you have these other on airs and air haulers and the things, but they don't provide that person to person interaction like FS Economy does. So that's my FS Economy preaching for tonight.
Now, I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask you exactly that, what your opinion was, because I'm similar to you. I like the career aspect of flight simming. I like having a purpose for other than just flying to Atlanta again for no reason, right? I like say that example for XP, but the thing is, as FS Economy, like you said, it caters to a niche that caters to literally everything below airliners. But when it comes to our flight sim community, as I think we all know, airliners is kind of the majority of the flight sim community. And I would love to be able to find a system that caters to both, right? So that people who fly GA, private jets, even helicopters can enjoy some type of progression system that they can make virtual dollars. And then the people who are flying in airliners can also enjoy the same thing, but it still be a level playing field in some way. I know that's difficult to do. Like you said, multiple platforms have tried to do it, and nobody's really succeeded very well. And I like the FS economy, the way it's built. And like you said, that human-to-human interaction. The thing that blew my mind away was the fact that I could literally talk to you right now, John. We're not on FS economy. We're not within some application. We're just having virtual face-to-face. And I can say, hey, I'm going to sell you my King Air 350 for, I don't know, $650,000, for example. Yeah. Or I'll trade you my King Air 350 for this much, or whatever, and you give me this. Like, you can do that and then make that transaction on the app.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because just today I offered a Class Bravo airport. It's extremely difficult to get a Delta, let alone a Charlie. But a Bravo is like, I felt like I won the FS economy game when I got Newark. I'm not kidding. But today, or it was this morning, I offered Newark. I said, I'll give you Newark and Louisville, and I'll also give you Tulsa, which are all major airports that would go for millions of dollars, that would take people years to get the money for Vegas. Give me Vegas for all three.
Wow.
Haven't got a response yet.
But
it's that whole human interaction that I love, and I'd love to have a platform that was airliner specific. You take your Tolus, you take your Zebo, you take the new PMDG and Microsoft Flight Simulator, and you make money. But yet I bought fuel from XP. I rented the PMDG, the Boeing 737 from Blue Games. I really love that idea, but to be airliner specific. The idea is out there.
Here's my question.
It's just a matter of execution.
Well, here's my question. Have never done any kind of FS economy flights, and as you said, it's all GA stuff. Why isn't airliners in there? What's stopping it from being in there?
There are airliners in there. There is an Airbus A320. There is believe it or not, there's a Boeing 727. You can't buy those. You can fly missions, and the people who own the airports that have the assignments, I think, make some income. But they've taken those airliners that are in there, and they've lessened the economy behind them. But they are there, and there's I think because it's that whole concept of small airport to small airport. We want people to explore. We want them to go to places they would never go. I have seen airports that that most people don't know exist because of FS economy. But as a result of seeing that airport that no one knows about, I saw some terrain that was really beautiful and very cool, and I never would have flown there in a Zebo.
I remember watching some of your streams on Twitch doing FS economy runs, and you're VFR and you're looking for the field because you've never been there before.
Yeah, it's like a grass field.
The surrounding terrain was like, wow. And you're looking like, oh, there it is. Okay, we're going to set up an approach from the north or from the west or the east. We got to go downwind and come back. So it's like almost like a real world bush flying, Yeah. That's nuts.
And I have to give a lot of credit to GA, because people came to my stream because there was not as many streamers back in 2015, 2016, 2017, even 2018. And people often said to me, you're the only guy on Twitch that's flying a Cessna or a Piper or a Robin, or you're going out and flying all these different GAs. Everyone else is flying the Flight Factor, which I love, the 757, or, they're doing the airliners. And I think people should stick to what they love, go have fun, fly what you want to fly. But I did have a little bit of an advantage that I attracted those people that wanted to see a different plane every stream. And also they decided whether or not they were going to buy that Carenado, Piper, Seneca, blah, 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 based on watching me fly it a couple times.
Yep. Definitely. I must say that you're right. The Cessna is one of your most flown GA airplane, because if you scroll through your videos, the Cessna cockpit shows up prominently with the six-back. Yeah. Right there. It wasn't even a Cessna with a G1000. Yeah. It was the basic cockpit there. So
I will say that I was one of the very select few who were able to stream the Max legally, or not legally, legitimately. I'll use the word legitimately. I was officially
You were the only one.
I was
Yeah.
the only one. Now,
Mhm.
there may have been one other guy that wasn't really known as a streamer,
He was a developer. He was
but
working on things.
but I, Audio Bird and Daniel and
Mhm.
all of these team players, and even Zebo has come into my stream,
Yep.
and which is an honor. It's crazy when Mr. X or Zebo or these guys show up in your stream, and you're like, dang. Or even FlyJ Sim and Toto Rico from Hotstart.
I thought you were friends with all these guys, like you talk to them every day.
I thought y'all
we make
lived
it
together.
we make it seem that way. But
Right.
I was very fortunate. I was in the right place at the right time where I got a legitimate. Well, I use the word legitimate loosely, but
Right.
I got
Original
an official
iteration
copy of
Yeah.
the Max, and that was an honor. And I put those videos on YouTube, and I think they're some of my more popular videos. And I'm really not doing much other than live streaming flying the Max. And it had that horrible reflection in the PFD. But I remember getting a lot of questions. When's this going to be released? When's this going to? I don't know.
It's the bias of these airliner guys, man. That's all they want to see. You know?
Yeah.
It's the bias of that. You said something earlier. I'm going to shift the conversation a little bit here because I want to get into the meat of it. One of the reasons why we want you on the show is because you have the history of flight simming as far back as I know, right? You've been in the industry a long time. And you said some 10, 15 minutes ago, boat sims, and you refer to two sims. We need to ask you about the sim world now. P3D, FSX, X-Plane, Microsoft Flight Sim. I want your opinion on the state of the sim world then, with all those simulators, and now with the new giant in the room. I mean,
yeah,
from then to now, based on what you've seen.
Isn't it amazing that we have options?
Yeah.
I will say right now that it's been, I don't know, a year, probably more than a year since I've done a P3D flight. And I think I kind of mirror a lot of our community that's kind of trying to either has phased out or is phasing out P3D. I was on a monthly license for it because I chose not to do the academic version, so I had to pay monthly, and I wasn't flying it off enough to justify the monthly charge from Lockheed. So I dropped it. But when I did that, I dropped the best aircraft in flight sim. When I lost the NGX.
Wow.
It is the number one aircraft in flight sim, in my humble opinion. Went back to X-Plane, and of course I do Microsoft Flight Simulator. So as has been discussed on your production here and throughout all of our communities, both have great aspects, right? We know that when we want to fly a reliable TOLUS, where do we go?
X-Plane.
Yeah, we go to X-Plane. When we want to fly a reliable, a lot of things, there's as far as I can tell, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, because you have your ears closer to the ground right now with this community as a whole. But you have the fly-by-wire, the A320, you have the CJ4, right? And then maybe there's a couple of GA aircraft, and that's it, right? That's out there, that's payware, that's solid.
Yeah.
And so, but isn't it exciting that this PMDG is coming to this sim? Because let's face it, better scenery, better clouds, better water, better overall not having to load ortho. That's awesome. So, but and I think you guys agree with me. Let's fly both sims and get, we can't combine them, unfortunately.
Yep. I mean,
as far as P3D, I think P3D is going away. I think that X-Plane I think X-Plane will be forever. I don't think it'll ever go away because think about it. It battled Microsoft all during its heyday, and it didn't care. It had its little area regardless. It's been around since 93? And it battled Microsoft all through that age. Why wouldn't they still be here in, say 2030? If it's a lot. I think that there's going to be and your heart's with Laminar, right? Captain Canada's heart's there, my heart's there. Blue, your heart's got what is it? Is it there?
It's there.
It's got its moments, right?
It's there. Oh, it's in. I'm a little torn, but it's mostly there.
But I will say that, please, Asobo, Microsoft, show up at the expo. Come on.
Thank you.
I wish I had a hand clap sound effect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But does that answer your question on, whereas I've dropped P3D, I'm going to fly both sims, and I think both sims have their pros and cons, and they're both going to get better. And let's just pray that our Ortho and our True Earth Orbex works with X-Plane 12.
Yeah, I've been stepping out on a limb and answering those questions in chat. Is my Ortho going to work? I'm like, of course. Yeah, exactly. It's custom scenery. It's got to be in the folder, Yeah. It's got to be any INI scenery folder, and at the bottom. I think it will work. It should. It better. I'm hoping so. But yeah, I'm with you. We have two choices of two great simulators to fly, and I do intend on flying both. Maybe not until Microsoft get all the planes that are on X-Plane, 7.5, 7.6, 7.7, 7.2, 7.32, you name it.
The Challenger.
The Challenger, the MD, the MD-80, the MD-11 that's coming, things like that. Yeah, we could fly the A320 and the 737 all day long, but you do get bored of flying those airplanes.
Yeah.
Right? You want other things. The A300 INI builds, you know what I mean? So you said something profound that X-Plane is going to be here. It's not going to die.
And I think if someone right now could make an X-Plane camera system clone for Microsoft Flight Simulator, they could make a lot of money.
Hint.
There you go.
Chase Plane's supposed to be doing something, right? Aren't they?
Yeah. I do wish X-Plane though had a drone cam like Microsoft does, because now I bought a controller, Xbox controller, and I fly Microsoft, and I can do those incredible outside views. Then I go to X-Plane to stream, and I go, okay, let me do an outside shot, and go, no, you can't do that.
You're all like, clicky.
I do a lot of outside shots. I'm kind of known. In fact, I get in trouble for it. My signature, as I'm departing the airport, I do the flyby from the outside view in X-Plane. And a lot of people are like, John, you're doing a flyby external view during the most critical phase of flight? I'm like, yeah, that's what I do.
That's where I stole it from. Because I do it now on every departure. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Those views, I wish Microsoft had a flyby view like that I didn't have to construct. Yeah. So
the other thing I was thinking about the other night, and P3D does this better than X-Plane, is that when I was on P3D, when I was on say Pilot Edge or VATSIM, I could have that right-click menu where I can go look at any aircraft, right, quickly, and it would take the camera to that aircraft in like a spot view. Well, now you got these VATSIM controllers that are they're loading up the sim and they're showing the airport as they're doing tower control. How awesome of a stream on YouTube or Twitch would it be if the controllers, you got the radar scope, but you also have a cycling camera showing the planes that are taxiing the way they're supposed to, rather than this faraway view of all the planes doing their things. There's a lot to be said about what can happen with these camera systems, and somehow if they can take the best parts and put it all together, it'd be pretty fun.
And I'm glad you said that, because me and Blue will have conversations sometimes throughout the day. And one of the things that we always talk about is how can we innovate in the flight sim industry and keep it moving forward, but not doing the same things over and over and over again. And I like what you're saying about using the cameras, even for controllers, because tons of controllers stream, but all you're looking at is a radar scope, and that's it. If they can incorporate tower cam or something like that and use what you're referring to, it would be nice. If you guys are listening and watching, man, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, a few of them do it, but you're right. The majority of it's just the scope, and sometimes it's very even hard to read the scope because the resolution's not right or correct or whatever. There's a few people that try to show a tower view, very, very few people that show a tower view and the scope. But then again, your scope's now small and unreadable. There's a balance. One day, this is what I want for Twitch and YouTube or other platforms, is I want the ability to start my stream and have my second monitor be visible on someone else's second monitor.
Oh, wow.
So, for example, you have, let's say you have you and the cockpit and the main view of the stream, right? But you also have Navigraph charts open on another computer, but you don't have to drag that over to the main screen to show the stream because they already have you on the side. Because most of us have a second monitor, right?
Yep.
So why not have these stream platforms allow the ability to have, second screen access?
I've been thinking about it.
I hope that comes one day.
Yeah, I'm thinking like OBS or something should have a built-in multi-channel stream output. Yeah. And then like platforms on YouTube and Twitch have a multi-input. Then the user can select which view they want to look at. Even if it's just a static wing view, right? You have 3 or 4 of these views that for landing, they don't want to watch a cockpit view anymore. They can just look out the window and land, especially with how good Microsoft looks.
Yeah.
So you set up views.
And that's taking it a step further in that, let's say I have the cockpit view, giving the user the ability to change the view for himself.
Wow.
That's a whole nother level where Sim has to be talking to their, it's this whole, but apparently this new shared flight deck software potentially can have observers that will hopefully eventually you'll be able to launch you launch up your Zebo and I launch up the software and you have the software and all of a sudden you're flying my Zebo.
I believe I am allowed to say this. I'm a part of the beta for shared flight, and yes, you are going to be able to not only do shared cockpit with up to like 5 people, I think, or 6 people. Don't quote me on that number, but you could also allow people in as passengers.
That's gonna be great for streams.
Oh yeah, wow,
absolutely.
And I was telling some people in the Discord, I was like, man, this is gonna be a big deal for streamers, because I mean, wouldn't it be amazing, right, to be able to stream and then have either a streamer friend or just some person some other person you want to fly with be your co-pilot. You're interacting in that way, but then you could also have all right, the first 5 people to put this in the chat or whatever, however you want to restrict it, it can be in my aircraft, whatever aircraft it is. If you're in a small Cessna, that's restricted to like 2 people, right? If you're in a 320, you got 185 people or something like that, I think that's amazing. And then as well as it takes control of their sim, right? So they got X-Plane loaded up and they're sitting there and you're just flying the plane and they're just watching the stream.
And then I have a raffle, a snack raffle with my stream Twitch currency, and I say, okay, raffle, and whoever wins gets to take control of my heading bug.
Oh, snack!
Oh my god!
We gotta keep advancing this whole Twitch platform with flight simulation because we're a niche. A very small niche gaming community, but if we start adding these little things that just give us the edge, it could bring in more people.
Yeah, definitely. You're one of the guys who brought in a piece of hardware and showed, which is the GoFlight MCP panel. Remember when you got that? If you want to sell it, by the way, if you want to get rid of it.
That is a hot ticket item, isn't it?
Oh, I've looked them up now. First of all, they're on back order. You can't get them. Yeah. You understand? And, the price is up there, but because there's so much. And that's another thing, again, the hardware market is out there and you showcasing it. That's why you see us with the cameras, and now Thrustmaster is getting into the game bigger now in flight simming. I'm loving it, man. What's your take on all the hardware peripherals that are available now to us?
For a long time, the Real Sim Gear line of hardware just made my simming just so much fun with the TBM 900 and being able to reach up and touch a real live G1000 sitting in front of me. It was that's amazing. Now, it doesn't necessarily reflect when I'm flying on stream. It's hard, without those cameras that we talked about showing the back angles and this, that, the other. It's hard to show that element. I mean, right now I've got a new piece of kit, and it's hard to show this on stream too because it's sitting on my desk. But essentially, this bad boy, maybe it'll focus in on it. Someone recommended this to me, and I love this thing. This is basically an autopilot, but it also has the ability to change the frequency, the autopilot modes, the auto throttle, the heading, course, altitude, vertical speed, everything. Simple, just USB cable, and it works with both sims, and it's so small.
Ooh. See, now you're getting me excited because I hate streaming and turning a corner in a turbulence or a thunderstorm, and I can't scroll the keys properly.
Yeah, how convenient it is. Oh, okay, VATSIM. Okay, John, Delta 123, fly heading 280. Okay, boom.
Wow.
Yeah, anything that you don't have to. I look at streamers who stream on VATSIM or Pilot Edge, and I see them change their view down to their pedestal and have to use the mouse wheel while they're in turbulence, trying to rotate the frequency dial to change to the center frequency from approach or whatever. It's just some of these peripherals are amazing, and I've been fortunate to be given a lot of them for free, and but there's a lot that I've bought too, and but it's very difficult for me to go away from this bad boy. I don't know if you guys can see that on the stream or not, but yeah, it's been there for 5 years and it's not going anywhere. I beta tested, and I couldn't talk about it or even show it, the Turtle Beach Velocity for months on both sims, and I think it's a great yoke. Right? I think we have a lot of options for yokes. I just don't have the real estate for it as a streamer to have a yoke in front of me and still maintain my ability to manipulate my, OBS, this, that, the other. I do have a stream deck and I can do some things, but having the real estate in front of me is very important as a streamer. But anyone that's not a streamer, or if you can manage to do what you need to do with a yoke in front of you, I highly recommend a lot of this hardware that's coming out. It's amazing.
What's that name of the hardware you showed us earlier?
This one is AXAIR, AXAIR, and it's shipped out of somewhere in Thailand or something like that. I don't know where it's made, but I know it's shipped from Thailand. But yeah, if you do a Google search for AXAIR autopilot module.
I just did. Okay. I'm looking at it. AXAIR auto, because for me that's functional. Like
there's the Cytec.
Wow,
right?
There's the Cytec. Yeah,
but it's much bigger now. It had its day, and I've used this a lot, and it's got a lot of function that's nice. But it's nice to have that small one. Do you know what I'm saying?
John, listen to me, bro.
Denting wallet.
Listen to me. No, listen to me. You need to make reviews. Like not live stream. Like, I know you do them on your live streams too, which is great. But you're talking about kind of thinking about getting into YouTube. You need to do exactly what you just did on YouTube. That's simple. Don't worry about all the video editing. Like that was an advertisement you just did when you showed it to us. This is like I was like sold immediately.
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
Bro, stop second guessing yourself.
I'm just saying, when Captain Canada started talking about you with regard to unboxing, it almost sounded like he wanted to ask you out for dinner. He was very impressed with your. He's like, I don't normally watch unboxing videos, but the way that you described it and this, that, and the other, you do quite an impressive job yourself.
I appreciate it.
The man's got a talent. Absolutely, I tell him all the time. Well, he'll come out with a video. I'll and go, man, that is lit. That new camera angle or whatever you did on that product, it's just it's make you salivate.
I do have a feeling that if I did spend a little more time with my YouTube channel as far as editing and polishing, I don't even do thumbnails. I mean, come on now. I probably would gain a little bit more traction than just lazily putting up clips of my live stream on Twitch. So there's a handful of videos. Like I did the Real Sim Gear GNS 430 and 530 video years ago, and I thought it was a good video. It took me like 2 days to edit. It's a lot of work, isn't it?
I don't edit, man. I leave it to Blue. Blue does all the editing and the stuff. That's why I got into live streaming, by the way. I try to make a video. Halfway through, I realized my mic wasn't working, and I was like, yeah, that's it. I can't. I'll just stream and come what may. I'm gonna have to tune into your stream because I haven't caught one yet. I'm assuming you weren't streaming back in 2019. No. When I met you at Flight Sim Expo, I just started dabbling in streaming. I had my computer had a 750 graphics card, a GTX 750. I had this program on X-Plane called FPS Boost or FPS Helper or something.
3J FPS.
3J FPS. That
Oh, yeah.
on VATSIM, your time will drop if you go below 19 FPS, and it was consistently happening. So I had that running in the background all the time now. But after Flight Sim Expo is when a couple of friends of mine that went to the expo with me said, man, you got to take this thing seriously. You met all these guys there. You met John, you met Catshreddy, you met Bellins, you met all, you start doing this thing seriously if you want to do it. And that's when I started, all right, let's double down and get it. But I mostly go late evenings now after work. You're full-time now. You see how you drop your streaming back to only 1 day a week. I'm full-time. So I run home from work, take a quick shower, whatever, set up. Hopefully it's already good to go. And then X-Plane didn't work. Or then Microsoft crashes on you. That's the thing.
You guys don't realize how much XP hustles to get these streams done. Like in all the meaning of the word hustle. I mean, like you said, you work 8, 9, 10-hour day, and you come home and sit in front of your computer. You haven't even eaten yet, so the hand of God brings over dinner. You know what I mean? And then you're on the computer for 4 more hours entertaining people. Like, that's dedication and hustle. So you guys in chat and listening to this, it takes hard work to make anything successful.
Yeah, for sure.
True. But at least from this stream right now that we're doing, I'm gonna get myself an Axier MIA PC. That's it. I got the website here. Thank you,
John.
John.
That expensive, huh?
No, it's $79.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
What it does, because I'm looking at it. You got auto throttle, course, indicator airspeed, heading altitude, V speeds, auto power on and off, mode selector, frequency. A little box, and I like it because I can mount it somewhere on my desk and have it. Add it to the camera shot.
It might even be in stock. It might take a month, but I think it's slow boat coming over. But I think you'll enjoy it. Now, granted, don't think of anything as mapped, but you're used to that. You're an X-Plane guy. Nothing's mapped, but it is a separate device that is recognized, and you can go in and tell it. Oh, the other thing too is not only are these knobs. Look, I am a freaking advertisement.
See,
not only are these knobs, but these are push buttons too.
Wow. Okay.
So they got a secondary function, heading sync. I need to sync up my heading bug. Oh, boop. Rather than taking a button down here. So yeah.
Ooh.
No, I'm not affiliated with them officially. There is no promo code from JonFly. If you use the JonFly promo code, you pay twice the price.
There you go.
Awesome. Bro, me and you are gonna talk after the stream because you're making reviews. You're just a natural, and you don't have to edit a lot. Like, you literally just did it in 15 seconds, and that's all you need. You don't need a intro. You don't need to do all these cuts. Like, if you mess up, just delete, hit record again, and boom, upload that. You gotta focus a little bit more on those thumbnails. That's it.
Yeah. No, I totally hear you. Yeah.
So let me ask you about X-Plane 12 and what you've seen so far, or what you know behind the scenes or not. What is your take on X-Plane 12 coming up?
Of course, we were all disappointed that they didn't sign a deal with Google.
Right. $1 million, get ortho, something. But
not even so much that, is just get the. I mean, it's. Even if you charged advertisements for, to use Google Earth or Google Maps or whatever. I mean, there's ways around having to fork out all this money. If nothing else, you get to compete with Microsoft, throw that, that out there to them. But as far as what I've seen, I'm excited. I like the visuals, but I'm already a fan, so it's difficult for me to I like it right now. So if it's that much better, and granted, right now I'm going to go ahead and predict that 70% of my plugins are going to work, and I'm okay with the other 30 not working because eventually the ones that I really want to have will be there. So I'm a day one user. I think all three of us should have beta copies right now.
Agreed.
Yes. Laminar,
please.
Yeah, I used to get copies. Back when I was full time, it was the privileges that you get when you're full time and you're what I call a micro celebrity. You're like not a celebrity, or not even. It's just a micro.
You're a nano celebrity. There you go.
Flight Factor said, John, go ahead. you can stream the 320. I was the first person to stream the 320 from Flight Factor.
Wow.
I sucked at it. I forgot to turn on the fuel pumps. It was not a good showing of John, because John's a Boeing, mostly Boeing. But my point is that X-Plane 12 I think it's going to be fantastic. I think there's going to, we all had our headaches with 11 going from 10 to 11. So I'm fully expecting to have those headaches and those tweaks and those, those developers making those refinements, and the developers that come out and say, okay, yeah, we're not going to charge anything additional for the compatibility to 12. I applaud them for that, but I also don't knock the developers that say, hey, there's going to be a little upgrade fee. I don't mind that, because I want to monetarily motivate them to stay with the platform. We have people leaving the X-Plane platform. If we don't pay them once in a while, they're going to lose the monetary they may even lose the ability to pay for their building they're in or whatever. Some of them are home or whatever. You need to dangle a little bit of dollary due in front of them, because some of them do it out of the goodness of their heart, and we love the freeware community. But I've always been a fan of people who make a quality product. Give them their due. The Hot Start Challenger 650 is my favorite plane in X-Plane right now. That man worked very, very hard for 3 years. I was very fortunate that I was on the beta team for the TBM before the TBM even had a cockpit. I was flying the thing.
I remember watching your beta TBM streams.
Yeah, so
it looked horrible. It looked horrible at first.
It looked, and people made fun of it. But no one had the idea this was going to be the best TBM in all of flight simulation, And so give those people, if you can, give those people their due and support them. Now, granted, I'm a little bit biased because I will take some of my Twitch revenue or my YouTube revenue and I'll throw it at product. I don't have to shell out my own money, right? But a lot of the time I do. So I'm not saying, that we shouldn't be throwing a bone here or there that, oh, here's a freeware project or here's no upgrade fee for this to work in X-Plane 12, but I'm excited about 12, and I would like to throw out there to you guys, are you thinking it's this summer, fall, or fourth quarter?
I just heard that it's going to be summer, pre-summer, another 4 months or so. Now, that's just a rumor in the rumor mills, and I'm like, that's way too long. But you know what? If I want him to get it right, they have to take the time to get it right. I heard Austin talk about the fact that he was doing the A330 on his other plane, and he was saying that, he noticed the ground textures is garbage. And he said that there's some designer, I'm trying to say in South America or somewhere, working on just the coastline alone to make it look like a real coastline and not look like just jagged lines, straight lines.
Yeah.
So I know they're aware of it. I know they see Microsoft. I know they notice how beautiful Microsoft looks. My personal gripe, and I tell all my guys, like, if X-Plane had a higher density of trees, one thing I notice about Microsoft coming in on any approach, no matter where I'm landing, the tree line makes it feel real and makes it look real. Even if some people say it's not to scale or whatever, I don't care. It looks good, So just they're doing new trees in X-Plane. I'm not sure if they're going to have the density required for it to bring that look up, and that will cover up the lack of ortho, in my opinion, if you have the tree density. So.
Trees will be a big thing, and of course, right now, if you don't have your overlays correct, now you got trees on runways and things, and that stuff like that needs to be. I mean, we can address it up. We can dress it up post production. We can try to remove things and that, but it's a challenge. So I think that they're upping their game, but it's we just have to realize that there is going to be no photogrammetry
and we still need our 8 terabyte hard drives for ortho.
We're gonna have the Falcon 8X. I'm also very curious how this default Cirrus is going to perform. And whether or not anyone's going to mod that. I like the Torque Sim line of product, and that I purchased some of their product, and I've been given some of their product. But having a default Cirrus SR22, I think, will help those people that maybe not be able to afford a lot of this payware. The fact that they use the word soon Cirrus SR22 default plane and X-Plane 12. The fact that they used the word soon made me think summer, but
Yeah, I'm thinking, I think as early as summer, late as Q3 this year. I've still been standing on this thought. I'm starting to take it back as we're seeing more previews, but I think that X-Plane 12 and PMDG 737 will come out within the same month. And the same with DCS's Apache. That's just my thought, because it seems like things come in waves in flight sim, and yeah, just make sure you have your money saved, because it's X-Plane 12, there's gonna be something else to buy.
yeah, Q4 XP comes out, Challenger comes out.
It was that
It's a wave.
week? Was that a week or two between the Q400?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Can you believe we're actually talking about all these planes in X-Plane? Because I remember when we were starving, we didn't even have a 737 before X-Plane 11 dropped the basic one. Remember those days when P3D just had everything, and we
were flying the jar.
Yep, the jar and the IXCG.
I was like, what the heck were we flying before Zebo?
Yeah,
it's true.
We were flying the jar, and we were flying I was flying Carenado stuff, of course. But the jar A320 and 330, we thought those were the bee's knees.
And I think also the flight factor 7.6 and 7.5 were out around that time as well, and 777.
True, but the
previous 777, not the updated one that really I love.
Yeah, was it X-Plane 9 version, or was it the 10 version? X-Plane 10 version of the 777.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, so what I'm realizing now over the years of just thinking back what we had is that it just does take time for developers to bring these aircraft and add-ons to market. Is it going to be the same for Microsoft? Is it going to take just as long, 2-3 years, to incubate a good plane and bring it to fruition? Or is it going to be shorter? Any idea about developmental time? And I know you're not a developer, but, what do you think? Is it going to be the same thing?
I think that you take if you take one guy, Todorico, Sasho, Hot Start, you add a Goran who's leading edge simulations, and between those two and maybe one other guy that did some documentation or whatever, if it took them 3 years to do the Challenger, and that they're just one guy mostly. Well, I should say I give a lot of credit to Goran for the graphics and the cockpit, etc. It's just a matter of how many people how many people are involved in the project. If you have 9 developers on a project, can you put out a good airplane in a year? Maybe. But I mean, Falcon. How long is Falcon? How many people are in Falcon? I don't know. But I'm excited for their Falcon. But they've now said it'll be X-Plane 12 only, so we know the timing for that.
One thing I'm curious about, because I've been watching the Falcon project for a while and wondering, they say it's supposed to be super detailed because they're working with, the maker of the actual plane. But I'm like, now we see the Challenger 650, and I'm just like, I just can't imagine anything being above that. And I was like, is Aerobas shooting for, to shoot past that, or like, where do you think Aerobas is gonna fall on quality? I mean, it's gonna be a great plane, but like, I
have yet to find an Aerobas product that I dislike or think is not very functional. I mean, even their Epic E1000 is a great plane.
Yeah.
And auto throttles. Yep.
They even have some funky planes that I've flown with the props in the back, and they've never made a product that disappointed me. I can't say the same thing for Carenado. But they're not a hot start. I don't think they're at that hot start level, but I think they are at that bar that they're in that same conversation with the flight factors and they're right up there with, I haven't tried any simulation stuff, but I'm hearing good things about them. But you have these, I put Aerobas in that category of premier, right up there.
I'll say, just so you know, I Build's products are just a level higher than Flight Factor at its current. Yeah. I don't know how the 777 is going to be when that comes out, because that might be a different story. But at Flight Factor's current lineup, even including the 320 Ultimate, I think I is a bit above that.
You want to know who I'm a big fan of? SSG.
Why?
because their 747, their Intercontinental 747 is fantastic. I feel very comfortable flying that thing online. I can't say the same thing for, the Magnite or the even the previous generation. There's another 747. I haven't did that older. Is it Felix?
The free one?
I haven't done that one. I don't think, except for maybe once. But I'm impressed with the SSG 747.
The SSG gets a lot of crap. But I've flown it online several times when I fly a 747 an X-plane. As a matter of fact, it's the only 747 I fly an X-plane. And I've flown it a few times, and the only thing I'd find that was wrong, that didn't feel right to me, was the handling of the flight model. But I know they've had several updates since then. I haven't gone back to it yet, but you're right. The FMC in the SSG is rock solid.
Yeah,
and that's one thing you require to fly online. And that's where, unfortunately, Magnite's got a nice 787 texture-wise and some system-wise, but it needs a custom FMC. You know what I mean? A custom FMC is one of those things that will set you up just up there, Even if the textures don't look as good, you got a FMC, you could dial in some stuff and do some direct twos and edit waypoints and change your arrival and all that stuff on the fly, and it doesn't crash on you or do something crazy. That's a good plane in my opinion for that.
The true test of an FMC is, do I have confidence that while I'm on Pilot Edge or VATSIM, that if they give me a different flight plan that's what's been programmed, like if I'm in cruise and they say direct here and it's not in the flight plan, I hope that if I am nervous as to whether or not that plane's going to fly to that waypoint based on me just putting it in the box, that's when I have to question things. And we've got a lot of planes that do that very well, and there's others that, hey, if you try to tell it to do a hold over this VOR, now you got to fly that thing manually around that VOR. You got your 1 minute outbounds and the dreaded hold. Whereas some PMDG products and the Challenger 650 and these other things, they will do what you tell it to do, and you have no worry or doubt by changing that box. The Zebo has gotten to a stage right now. I just flew the latest Zebo last weekend. I have confidence that if I change the flight plan in there, it used to be that you worried about things
blow it up,
blow it up or whatever. And it's getting better and better. But you're right, custom FMC and some reliability and confidence in it acting like the real box in the real world where things change.
So, kind of shifting the subject a little bit. We talked a lot about you being a flight simmer and enthusiast since back in the, was it 89 you said?
86, yeah.
86, sheesh. But
Were you born?
No, I wasn't.
Wow.
But so my question is, in this time, have you ever pursued becoming a real life pilot? Or if you haven't, why not? Like, what's your story there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've got 30 hours logged as a student. And that was a long time ago. I actually did flying out of Oakland, which was fun because that's a busy airspace. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I did 30 hours, mostly in a Piper Cherokee, and then some in a 172, a little bit in a 152. Back in 2017, I went to go get my medical. And back up a little bit, in 2016, I had a heart attack.
Oh no.
And wow. I had to have a stent put in an artery. And that was we're talking 6 years ago. It wasn't related to the election, but it was election night for Donald Trump, and I had a heart attack.
That's hilarious.
Oh my God! Sorry to hear that.
People make fun of that coincidence, and it's not related. But So anyway, I had the stent put in. Long story short, the medical has been denied by the FAA, and unfortunately, if I had not. This is the irony of the situation is if I had not gone to the medical examiner and just you want to be honest with them and just say, yep, I had a heart procedure, had a heart attack, here we go, blah blah blah. because I did that, it's on record now, right? So if I tried to go get my recreational license, normally all you do is show them your driver's license and you take the lessons and you pass the tests, and you don't have to have a medical for a recreational license because you what's called self-certify.
Right.
But because it's on record that I have a heart procedure, I can't even go get the recreational license. So what I have to do now, if I were to go out and try to get a license or a medical, not let alone a license, is I have to go and get EKG. I got to get all of these medical procedures done. Probably $2,000 or $3,000 worth of medical procedures, and then I have to beg them to allow me to get my license. And then, as far as I understand, I have to every year I have to redo this because it's a conditional license if they were to grant it.
Oh,
so it's kind of unfortunate, but because of Twitch, I have met a lot of real world aviators, and as some of you know, I've spent a lot of time in the air with people I met on Twitch. Citation Max being, I've got 80 hours sitting in his right seat.
I remember you guys on the Hudson River in New York. I remember that one.
Yeah. I've flown all up and down the eastern seaboard with Max. One time we flew to the Bahamas.
Wow.
In a Cirrus SR-22. We flew down to Florida, and then we flew over to New Orleans one time. Another time we flew up to Flight Sim Expo. We had a passenger in the plane with us that I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but his name's Squirrel.
I remember that. I remember seeing that video.
Come on.
So through Twitch and through this beautiful situation where us three can connect on this hobby that's so small, whereas none of our family or brothers or sisters or neighbors are like, what? You fly planes on your computer? Isn't it beautiful that we have this medium? So I'm really fortunate to live and meet people and I get offered all the time, hey John, you come out here, I'll take you up in my Cessna, or I'll take you up in my Piper. Max flew into Salt Lake City, said, hey, you want to come fly my jet? I'm like, yes, let's jump in the jet. So he flies to Salt Lake City. We jump in the CJ. He goes, let's go up to Idaho Falls.
Wow.
Fly to Idaho Falls with Max in the jet. I mean, talk about surreal. He let me fly a little bit of the approach, and of course, I wasn't going to do the landing in a $3 million jet.
I mean, I even seen you in a Challenger one time. Yeah.
Yeah, that was as a passenger. I went with a friend and we flew a Challenger. I think it was a 350, and I live streamed going inside, going up to talk to the pilots, the crews. I live streamed that whole takeoff. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yep. Because of course you're in a private jet and you can have your phone on and be live streaming, and it's not against the rules as we know in the bigger commercial planes. You can't do that. But that was fun. We flew into Bozeman, so I've had a lot of opportunities. In fact, the Bozeman tower controller knew me from Twitch.
What?
And he met us on the ramp and gave us a tower tour.
That's amazing.
What?
Talk about like this amazing community that you make all these connections. And I can guarantee that if either one of you showed up at my doorstep or I showed up at your doorstep, you would give me some floor space on your floor with a sleeping bag.
Yeah, man. We know you. We've watched enough hours of video on you live to know exactly who you are.
You're going to trust that you're not going to be robbed overnight. Yeah, there you go.
No, but honestly, you know, as a live streamer, the way you do it, which not hiding anything, getting up and walking away, eating dinner, all that stuff, you get to see somebody's real personality. You can't really make up a streaming personality for too long. Yeah. The real person is going to come out, and we've seen you do that. That's one thing some other guys ask me. Hey, what do you do as a streamer? I'm like, dude, be yourself.
Yeah.
First thing.
I used to not let the kids come in, and now they come in all the time and sit. And I've got two older daughters who are out of the house, and one's married, and one's in college, and then I've got the two younger ones. And guys, sorry, if they come in and they want to show me their drawing, you're going to see it on the stream. But some of these people that have been around my stream, some of these guys have 5-year chat badges. That means they've been subbing for 5 years. They saw when that baby was not even born yet, and they've watched they've watched them grow up, this progression. So yeah, you do have you do have a connection, and many of them I have met. It's amazing. It's amazing opportunity to make really, really close friends. This great hobby and this great world of YouTube and Twitch.
I have to ask, someone in chat is asking, what about the drink you made in the Challenger?
Oh my gosh. It's on YouTube. It's I'm forever immortalized in this moment where I was filming this area of the Challenger. It's a brand new Challenger, by the way. And they had all the drinks and the snacks, and we're private jet pilot guests. We can just take whatever we want. So I'm video taping, and I open up the drawer and I see this little tiny mini can. I'm like, okay, that's a can of Coke. So I bring it up on the top, and I go and I grab the Jack Daniels, and I open up the what I think is I pour the Jack Daniels over the ice, because they even had ice on this Challenger, and then I poured what I thought was Coke, and it was tomato juice over my Jack Daniels.
Hey, it's a Bloody Mary.
And it was all live. It was all live. It wasn't one of those situations where you could edit out this faux pas. But so yeah, forever I'm now known as Tomato and Jack Daniels, and it was disgusting. It was really bad.
Wow.
They don't talk about the landing, but they talk about the drink that I made.
Yep. That's it.
But you're right. Be real. Show yourself. Some people don't show themselves not because they're not being genuine. Some people don't show themselves because they're a little bit nervous and not comfortable. And it takes a little bit of time. I mean, I listened to your podcast with Q8, who I love, and he and I have had a chance to talk here and there, and we've all learned from him, but he was nervous as all get out on his first live stream.
Yep. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then now he's got into a comfortable level, and he likes it, and he, so some people come across as, oh, that doesn't feel like it's the real them. But you're right. You made a good point. You can't fake it But some of the what appears to be not genuine is purely a fear, or nothing better than me dropping 50 or 80 guys onto someone who's got 1 or 2 viewers. I love it. We, because we can do that raid and host on Twitch. But
True. Wow. By the way, it's been 1 hour and 40 minutes.
Wow.
It goes forever.
Yeah, it goes forever. Now, so as far as the flight sim future is concerned, positive, super excited. What is your overall thing now sitting here? Even though you don't stream a lot anymore, but you're still involved in flying and stuff. Now, do you fly offline, by the way? Without streaming?
What?
Do you fly offline without streaming, or you always just stream?
Almost never.
Yeah, same here.
Almost never. And part of it has to do with when I'm down here and I'm away from my family. If I'm flying, why am I not streaming?
There you
go. I think that there was a time where I debated just kind of hanging it up, and just retiring from streaming at all. And then I decided, you know what? I love flying. Why not just hit the go live button if you're going to fly? Why not? And hang out with a few people that and you don't care about we all say don't care about the numbers. Sometimes it's hard to do it. But now, because I'm so part-time, that I really just get down here and I fly. Now, the few times that I will fly offline, not streaming, is when I wanted to learn the Q4 XP a little bit before I went out there, because it was, I don't know, I just wanted to show it in a good light. And sometimes people misinterpret pilot error for bad development.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely.
So I would say that going forward, yeah, I'll be doing a flight once or twice a month probably for the rest of my days, just to stay in touch. And since I've been doing it since '86, why not, right?
Nice.
Now, the other thing I was going to say is that we and you guys talked about it on the podcast with Captain Canada, is there's these there's a few people out there that will criticize you and critique you and maybe not be a big fan of you and that dragged me down for a little while. There was a point where there was a couple of individuals that were not fans of JonFly, and they were making it very vocal amongst their groups. And I'm like, whatever, if I'm not your cup of tea, that's fine. But but I don't think you should necessarily go and need to talk about it later on, that type of thing. But then I read a quote from Theodore Roosevelt, and it changed everything. So if there's anyone out there that ever is thinking about live streaming or is doing it now, and you have some conflict with what may be a viewer or another streamer or whatever, this Theodore Roosevelt quote just pulled me through, and I'll try, and then we can wrap it up too. I apologize for the long-winded answer, but it says, "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." Basically, is the man in the arena is us, and we're going to do things badly, and we're going to get a lot of flack, but the fact is that we're in the arena, and we're doing it.
Damn right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You can be a critic all day long, but if you have never tried it yourself, you got nothing to say to me. Yeah, good luck. I will listen, but I'm trying. And as the quote goes, you will fail, and we have had good streams, bad stream, good days, bad flights, bad landings, good landings. But we're here. We show up and we'll do it. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah.
I applaud you guys for this production. This is good stuff. What is it? Episode 22?
Yes.
Can't believe it, man. Jeez. Yeah. I used to watch PB&J, by the way, just so you know.
Yes, me too.
That was good stuff. We need to rekindle Max and Brad to get together for at least one more of those, or like a reunion sign off or something. I miss Brad's streams. He hasn't streamed for a bit. Max's stream is, I think, a couple of weeks ago, but I miss the regularity. And if we could only get Gibbs back.
Josh Gibbs, what happened, man? I don't know. The crew, the original OG crew. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the OG JonFly. I am actually so happy to have you on. Listen to your take on this whole thing that we call ourselves what we call our hobby, and appreciate just you being here and showing me and a bunch of other people how to do things, how to enjoy it, how to have fun at it, how to learn new things. It's all in it, man. It's all in it. I'm like, okay, John did that, didn't work. I'm not going to do it. Do something else. You know what I mean? Yep. But no, we appreciate it, man. I'm glad we got to do this. I can't believe we're at number 22 already, but it looks like we're starting to build a little library here that, as you said, you can go back and listen and watch. And we didn't even start out like that. We just wanted to get some people on and talk. But I'm loving this, John. I appreciate it, man. Absolutely appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the time. It's been good chat. Sorry it took you. I chatted and talked your ears off.
No, that's the best kind of guest, man. We don't have to say much. Just cue you up and you go. You're used to doing it, don't you? So yeah.
There you go.
Wow. Man. Blue. Are you still awestruck?
I'm still awestruck from the quote, man. I'm still just kind of like letting that simmer and just kind of thinking about that, because we all get those comments in here and there, and it's always interesting to hear how different people respond to them and how they bounce back, because they definitely can get you down over time. You're doing it for a long time, and it kind of becomes what you do. If you put too much value into what other people think of you, then it could bring you down for sure. So I think that was definitely really inspiring for a lot of people who are listening to this. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing your story about the medical and thinking about giving, like, all that stuff. I was really hoping you would bring up, because I've known that myself about your story, but I was hoping you'd share it because it's really inspiring. It really is. I mean, the fact that you got declined, but still have 80 hours, like that's nuts, man. You've traveled all over, and not even in a airline. Like some people get to travel, which is great, and you get to travel in big 737 stuff like that. But you've done it like the right way. You're going to Bozeman. You're going to these hole in the wall places in the bushes out there. Doing it right. So it's really cool. But again, thank you for sharing it.
Yeah. Yeah, but, true.
Amen, brothers.
Amen. Great, man. Absolutely great. Absolutely appreciate it. Definitely. So what's new for you, John? What's coming up for your fans, for your folks?
I think that I hope to get to Flight Sim Expo, and I hope to meet all of these people that I have not met, and rekindle relationships that we've met before, and just keep on keeping on. And we're sick of the snow here in Utah, so I'm bringing on summer.
No, we want it. I might go back and do some more skiing.
I need to use these things back here in the corner. I don't know if they're in focus or not, but those are my Pride and Joy golf clubs.
We didn't even get into your golf streaming, your Star Citizen.
Florida. Yeah.
We didn't get into all of that, but that'll be fun time.
All right, we'll catch you guys on your streams as well. So that's in my future plans to even though it's difficult to find you, on the live platform as we talked about it, I'm going to make a concerted effort to click that live filter and look for you guys. And then of course I'll catch you on your VODs as well.
Yeah, how can we petition YouTube to have you just go to YouTube search and do flight simming, and it brings up everybody who's streaming simming? How hard would that be?
Well, my problem with that is I do that and I go and there's no one streaming. I'm like, where the heck is everybody at? So it's plenty of room still for more people to come over to YouTube and do live streaming. Because if you go on while XP streaming, you'll see him live. You might see a couple people live, but different times of day. When I'm looking, I see no one, or maybe just one person, and nobody's there. So yeah,
I'm assuming that I can live stream on YouTube by itself without a violation of my contract. Some people say it's a gray area, but I don't. I think my only Twitch partner limitation is that if I live stream on Twitch, I can't put it on YouTube for 24 hours, the content. And it's a 24-hour rule. But I don't know if there's anything that says, you can't go on YouTube by itself. I think, in fact, if I do go on YouTube by myself and I got in trouble, that might be just the little kick that I need to say, you know what? You guys are not really looking out for me.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Oh, just got an email. My Twitch partnership's been canceled.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with John.
Wow.
And
thank you,
XP. Are you streaming tomorrow, XP?
Yeah, I'm in Russia right now, and I'm going to Helsinki tomorrow. So I'm leaving Moscow down to Helsinki to wrap up the week of streaming, and maybe something once on the weekend. I'm not sure yet. I'm working on Saturday, but that's all we got coming up for you guys. What about you? What you got?
Well, this week I've been real undecisive, so I'm either gonna fly a helicopter or an A320. Very different things.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So come back tomorrow. I'll be live my usual time, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
Well,
folks,
go ahead, XP. Bring us out of here.
I was gonna say, we are wrapping this one up. Another one in the books, or another one on the hard drives or streaming platform. It's going to be on Spotify, iTunes podcasts, and where else is going to be available once we get it loaded up there, so you guys can listen on the way to work. You can send the link to people and so forth. But catch us, man. I appreciate you guys hanging out for this almost 2 hours with us and joining us on the Blu-XPerience, where we just talk all things flight sim, and including real world airline and stuff too. And I'm happy that we had JonFly on today. But as Blue always says, you got two choices. Is it two choices?
Three
Blue,
choices.
Or three? Go ahead, you say it. You take it, man.
You always get it wrong. Remember, you have three choices: give up, give in, or give it all you got. Peace, love, and God bless you. We will see you guys next time. Next video. We out.
Good deal.